Welcome back, everyone, to the Lone Star Showdown. We're back on YouTube. We're doing it again. This is the new platform, so we will not be broadcasting on Spotify and Apple Music anymore. But you may catch us on TikTok in the future. Probably not. But
I don't know why it would be on TikTok.
yeah, I don't either. So, Kyle.
What's up?
Week of football.
Yeah, it was good.
Penn State looked great against a terrible Auburn team.
Poor Auburn. I don't know what they're going to do all season.
Well,
I think that's an easy win for y'all.
I will tell you one thing. Looks like Zach Calzada probably will be playing next week. TJ Finley is officially out for the week.
Yeah.
So, Herm Edwards possibly gets fired on the field the other night.
I saw that. I saw that clip. That's tough stuff. You got to be bad to be. You can't even make it to the locker room.
Yeah,
that's a bad firing.
I'm curious if they really just did fire him like on spot. They were just like, come over here. And I mean, that was the AD. He did like tell him to talk.
Right.
But I'm curious if he really did get fired like then and there.
I don't know. Like we can't hear the audio of it really, so
No.
I'm sure someone will say, "Well, we just told them that we're going to have a meeting right now and come to the office."
I'm sure it's already been like reported on, but I just think I don't have that big of an interest in Arizona State football, so
right, me neither.
Fun to me. Any other interesting games that intrigued you last week?
I thought Nebraska would put up a better fight than they did.
Yeah.
I was hoping it would, since it's an old rivalry, I was hoping it'd be, a little bit more interesting. They scored no problem their first drive and then nothing really much after that. So it was kind of a snooze fest. And I picked them for like an upset. So I was the one upset. Cause
I did not pick
didn't
Nebraska
happen.
in an upset.
But I did think Michigan State would get beat by Washington, so I called that. What I don't understand is how Michigan State got beat by an unranked team by 11 points, and they're still ranked really high.
Yeah,
that's a little weird.
Well, you always know that these voters don't like to be wrong, and
they also don't like to watch football games. They'll look at like the score, and that's about
they're
it.
highlight watchers.
Right. Yeah, they're I thought they're still ranked. Maybe they're not. Who knows? On sports stats, it says they're not, or Sports Reference says they're not. But
a couple games that caught my eye: Kansas over Houston. Now,
dude,
I did watch
Kansas is no joke.
I watched Houston play Texas Tech the other day, or 2 weeks ago, I guess, and that went to overtime. Like that was a very close game. Houston was a top 25 team at the time. Tech QB just makes this miraculous play on fourth down to like keep them in the game, and then they, win the game. And I thought, Houston didn't look bad. Tech's obviously just as talented as Houston, and then Kansas goes in and lays 48 points against Houston, which all credit to Houston. They weren't a bad team 2 weeks ago.
Right.
So is Kansas for real?
I don't know. I'm glad we don't play them till like near the end of the season. I don't want to I'm sure some other Big 12 schools are going to get upset by them, and so it won't feel as bad of a sting if for some reason they beat us again.
Well, they've already taken down one.
If they're beating everyone,
they've already taken down one Big 12 team. They took down West Virginia 2 weeks ago. 42. That 48 points they put up against Houston is their season low.
Oh, shit. Crap. I can't wait to get out of the Big 12.
Oh, my gosh. This is gonna be a fun season. Oh, speaking of getting out of the Big 12, we just got the SEC schedule release.
Yeah, I saw them release. No Texas OU, so I guess 24.
So I always thought that 2024 would be the year.
Because of USC
and one more year.
Yeah, because of USC and UCLA starting Big Ten play in 2024, it just makes sense. Like nationwide, the big conference switches should all start around the same time. So
Right.
I think 24 is the right place.
So
Wait, so does that mean we'll be playing like Cincy and BYU next year?
you will have Cincy, BYU, UCF, and
What? Oh,
I'm
great.
missing one. Cincy, BYU, UCF, and
Houston.
Houston will be coming to the Big 12 to play all
Great.
their old Southwest Conference foes.
Hey, but at least if we lose to them, we won't be losing to G5 schools. We'll be losing to Power 5 schools. Yeah.
Yeah, they will be Power 5 schools. Technically, I guess.
Technically. And also, I just refreshed my page I was looking at. I was looking at the wrong AP poll. Michigan State is no longer ranked because of that loss. Nice. So, we Gucci.
Well, the
voters aren't
well
idiots.
deserved. Well deserved,
Yes.
not ranking.
Speaking of rankings, were you a little confused why Miami dropped 12, but y'all jumped 1? From
Not
that,
really.
I was expecting y'all to at least pass us.
I did think A&M would be higher, but
Yeah.
I'm not shocked given the loss.
Right.
Now, A&M.
It's like they're going to make you pay for a couple weeks.
They will, but if A&M goes
Yeah.
out and plays Arkansas this weekend, for example,
Yeah. What's Arky? They're number 10.
10.
That's a solid win. So
You win it. You beat a top 10 team in a neutral site. You deserve to go back up. That shows that I'm hoping that this is where we move forward to. That Appalachian State game was a
fluke.
A fluke, the worst game you'll see of A&M this season. That's what I'm hoping. I'll get to that later.
Yeah. I was going to say to myself, I was thinking this. I was like, if they pull off this Miami win, I think they'll be fine rest of the season. If they didn't, it'd be a shit show. But looks like it's going to be just business as usual. So
yeah, I covered that last week. Where if you lose that game, if you lose that Miami game, and then you're looking at these. So now we are going into 5 weeks. 4 basically road games, with Arkansas being a neutral site game. I really don't count that as a home game, so we'll call it what it is. It's a road game. You're traveling to Arlington. So 4 straight road games in 5 weeks because you have a bye week in there. So it's gonna be it'd be a rough road if you lose. If you lost 2 straight, and this had happened after our last podcast. So I'm just going to go ahead and address it now. You saw what happened after the App State game. Tweets were tweeted about how the offense, that were retweeted from like over a year ago about the offense. Certain players driving recklessly through a parking garage while streaming it live. Like I'm not going to pretend like I was not a smart 18-year-old either. Obviously, like that was a very stupid decision by an 18-year-old kid.
Right.
I'm not gonna blow it up and be like, yes, of course, every stupid mistake that we've ever made was probably stupid.
Yeah, and it wasn't caught on camera and given to like the world to digest. So that also sucks, like being a player.
I also didn't have a phone to stream every stupid thing that I did.
Oh, yeah. I had to, borrow my mom's, video camera to go, record myself doing a bike jump in my driveway. Pretty lame stuff.
There's a Motorola Razr out there somewhere with, an 8-bit video of me doing something stupid. And then the night before the game, craziest thing I've
never seen that before.
No, my dad after it happened, my dad told me stories of how other guys had done that, and it's even come out that Johnny Manziel did that himself once.
Oh well, yeah, definitely Johnny for sure.
And the thing is, though, is that and I think it's so cool that Jimbo did this, and all praise to Jimbo Fisher. Like this shows me that he has the locker room. So these 4 kids, 4 freshmen, Evan Stewart, Chris Marshall,
Denver Harris,
2 5-star wide receivers, Denver Harris, 5-star corner, and basically borderline 5-star, but he was a 4-star Smoke Bowie, who plays corner, all snuck out Friday before the game and went to a party at Prairie View A&M. I mean, I guess
why? I just don't get it.
I don't know.
Man.
I don't know why, but I mean, obviously,
Well,
cool party.
I bet you they won't. I bet you they won't do it again.
I bet you they won't. Because,
Yeah.
And the coolest part about this whole story, so like they all go do this, they sneak out, and then they get caught. The next morning,
Yeah.
they're all brought in with the captains of the football team. So I think
Nice.
Anais Smith, probably Layden Robinson, the guys who were like the leaders of the team, they're
Yeah.
all brought in before them, and they're like, on Saturday morning, they're like, so, this is what happened, and Jimbo's telling, the captains what happened, and the captain, he gave the captains the choice to suspend them. He goes, what do you think we should do with them? And the senior leadership on the team said, they're not playing today.
Nice.
Jimbo Fisher didn't have to make that call. His team made that call.
Yeah.
And if you go watch the game, Evan Stewart was on the sideline, like, pumping up his guys. Like, they were all on the sideline with them. They just weren't suited up. And
Yeah.
it really is unfortunate because we really could have used them.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and go over the Miami game since we're already talking about A&M. The loss of Chris Marshall and Evan Stewart was very noticeable. Those are your in your statistical performances. Those are your wide receiver 2 and your wide receiver 3. They both have the most targets out of anyone on the team aside from Anais Smith. And you have Max Johnson coming in his first game, and he gets 10 completed passes in an entire game.
Yeah.
4 of them go to Anais Smith, and the other 4 go to his running back, Devon Achane. The other 2 one was for Chase Lane for 6 yards, and then the other one was the first play of the game, which was a designed tight end screen pass, which was like flawlessly performed. If it was any better, it would have been a touchdown.
Yeah.
But that's literally it. Those were the 10 completed passes of the game. The rest, it was like, Max Johnson trying to make as good a plays as he can. The line's either breaking down or these wide receivers are just not getting separation. And so you're sitting there and you're like, man, I wonder what this would look like with Chris Marshall and Evan Stewart, who was the number 2 targeted guy on the team by a lot. He almost has as many targets and catches as Anais Smith, and he's a freshman.
Yeah.
I think I read a stat today. He actually has more catches and targets than Xavier Worthy does at Texas. And he played one less game. So, it just goes to show, and that's why I look forward to this week. I think that, these kids, they weren't really punished by the coach. They were punished by their peers. And I'm thinking this week they come in and they're like, hey, we're ready to rock and roll. We won that. Y'all won a big game without us. Let us be a part of this next big game in Arlington, and let's go beat the Arkansas Razorbacks because they have the worst. Like Kyle, I retweeted it this week. They have, out of all divisions of college football, they rank something like 640th in pass defense.
Yeah. I was just saying this. I don't know who I was saying. Maybe on my other podcast that, and I even commented on some Aggie who was like, are you joking with me? Or are you actually doing a serious tweet? But I was like, seriously, this is Jimbo Fisher's chance to open up the passing game because Arkansas's pass defense is really bad. So
really bad.
So I think this is a good opportunity for Aggies to get some yards, get some points.
Now, there is a double-edged sword to this. Arkansas is 131st out of 131 FBS teams in pass defense. They are also number 1 in sacks.
Oh,
they lead
God.
the nation with 17 sacks.
What's A&M's OL ranked? How are they doing?
Offensive line is in a work in progress.
Yeah.
We're 88th in sack protection, I guess is what you would call it, or sack rate against A&M. I think we average. We average 2.5 sacks per game, which ties us for 88.
Yeah,
that's not great. especially considering 3 of those sacks came from. We had 3 sacks against Miami. Miami got to Max Johnson 3 times. But Max was really safe with the ball. I before the season, I likened Max Johnson to Kellen Mond, and I remember right. That. I think I'm right on the money. I think we saw it this weekend. Max was, 10 for 20, 140 yards and a touchdown. That sounds like a Kellen Mond stat. Got the win.
Yeah.
Didn't throw an interception. No fumbles. And I'm talking about senior Kellen Mond, that 2020 season where he really protected the ball a lot, and was able to get some. We went 9-1. The O-line was significantly better in that 2020 season. I think the receiving core is going to be better this year. If this offensive line can gel like they did last year around the Bama game, it took 2 losses for the O-line to gel last year. And, during the Bama game, Zach Calzada was hardly pressured, making great throws. I think Max Johnson can make much better throws than Zach Calzada. I think he's much more poised. If we can get this O-line, we can get it gelled. This is a dangerous team against a good Arkansas team. They are one of the best in the nation in running the ball. They're not so great at passing. That's also due to them losing Traylon Burks in the draft last year. But Sanders is a monster in the backfield, and then you always have to worry about their quarterback just tucking it and running. We watched him bulldoze guys left and right last year, but we also saw him get hurt a bunch last year. He got knocked out of the A&M game in the fourth quarter, and forced Hornsby to come in, and A&M almost made a comeback to win that game. This game could go either way. I'm not in favor of A&M or Arkansas. I think that this is. The line is 2.5.
Yeah, I was going to say that this game is always a field goal game.
Yeah,
it's going to come down to. It's going to come down to turnovers, basically. I think whoever gets the most turnovers is going to win this.
Line's 2.5 in A&M's favor. I do not like that Arkansas is a rushing team, heavy rushing team this year, and A&M's defensive line has struggled. Not generally just because the defensive line, I guess. Okay, I'll rephrase that. Its front 6 has struggled. Our linebacking core is not what it has been in years past. I think the defensive line is young. They're playing great, but we are getting gashed in the running game, just like we did against Miami, just like we did against App State. They're gashing us in the running game, so it's going to be up to A&M to fix all those issues. But I feel comfortable. I think that this is going to be a great game. I definitely favor A&M, but
right.
I would not be going to Vegas with this one. I'd sit this one out and just enjoy the ride.
Yeah, for sure.
This is going to be a great game. I do believe that. I do believe that this is going to be a great game. So, big Miami win, big Arkansas game coming up. Texas goes out and beats little brother, I guess, or sister school, UTSA.
Yeah. It
was a tight one.
Yeah, I was actually at a musical. I was watching Hamilton, which is my favorite musical, and so I bought the tickets 2 years ago, and COVID pushed it back 2 years, so I was not going to miss it. And then when it said it was starting at 7, and so was the game, I was like, what's the chances? So I was like, I'll just check it during intermission. And when intermission happened, the lights came on, I turned on my phone, it said 17-7 UTSA, and I was like, oh shit. And I checked my Twitter, and people were like, Kyle, we're not playing good. I was like, oh, man. And so I was like, okay, well, I'll just watch it. Texas had the ball, and I was like, I'll just watch this. And then, 2 plays later, we scored a touchdown. I was like, okay, we're okay. And, I was trying to, find, a breakdown of how exactly we got to this point while I was, in the intermission. And so, apparently, UTSA, they came to play, they came with, a game plan, and they executed it perfectly. So I got to give them props on that. They did a surprise onside kick, scored right off of that. Their first drive was a 8.5-minute draining long drive. So, they scored off of that. I mean, it was a field goal, but they still scored. Then they got a touchdown. They onside kicked it, got another touchdown, and then that's when I caught the game. And then since I turned it on, they scored 3 points. The remaining parts of the 2.5 quarters after that. So the defense made adjustments at halftime. They stepped up. Bijan finally broke loose. He did.
And did he? 183 yards.
Yeah, three touchdowns. Yeah, this is game 3 of the season. He already has more rushing touchdowns than he did under Tom Herman in 2020. I've said this 1,000 times. Tom Herman really screwed his freshman season. He played him. He only played him in 9 of the whatever games, and in those 9 games, I think he averaged like 3 or so rushes a game. That
was the COVID year, the 2020 year.
Right. Yeah. Just some really bad mishandling.
You didn't really see him let the reins go until
right.
I think it was the Kansas State game at the very end of the year.
Yeah,
where he finally got more than 15 carries.
And that was where he set his like career long, and then he finally beat that. He finally beat that career long at the UTSA game by like a couple yards. He had like a 76 or 78 yard rushing touchdown, and that's now his new career high. But yeah, I was just happy to see that we won by 3 scores. I'm glad that the team facing adversity was still able to make adjustments. Last year they did the opposite of that. They couldn't change anything at halftime. They just got worse. This Texas team flipped the switch, did what they needed to do. They stopped UTSA's offense pretty much every time except for that one field goal the rest of the game. So very excited for that. I know the defense isn't stellar, but this is the first time we've held our first 3 opponents to 20 or less points in like 11 years. So if you're a Texas fan, that's a great stat to hear because the defense has been so suspect for the last like 3 coaching tenures. It's just been the worst. So that was exciting to see. So, in 41-20, that's a respectable score. If we would have won like 27-20, I'd be like, oh no, what are we gonna do? But 41, that's the same amount that Arkansas beat us last year by, and everyone says they like whooped our ass. So that makes me feel like we whipped their ass if we can win by the same amount. So I was happy with the score, happy with the performance.
I feel like those are 2 different games.
Oh well, yes, they were 2 different games. That's not the same game. Two different games.
I feel that Texas should be happy the fact that y'all came back, from such a deficit. Against Arkansas, y'all were shut out that entire game.
Yeah, we were dog
yeah, you were
shit
getting your
game. Yes.
Arkansas beat us last year. You were getting your ass kicked up and down the field the entire game against Arkansas last year. This year, same score, but 2 different stories. So you come in.
Right, yeah. We weren't hanging on for dear life trying to score any points we could to just make it decent looking.
Right.
We had to come from behind and put the gas on and never let up. So.
But Sark came back from behind.
Yeah, I don't think
that should be the headline.
That might be his first time to do that.
Come back at you. In my memory, that's the first comeback at Texas that he's had.
Yeah.
He's usually leading at half, and then
it's usually backwards. Yeah, so hey, that's fine. This whole offseason, I was like,
huge positive.
Right. This whole offseason, I was like, the offense will probably be the same, and if the defense has improved just a small amount, I think we'll win half of those games that we lost where they couldn't do anything. So I think yesterday or Saturday's game was a great example of the defense being able to step up, make adjustments.
I am interested to see what your defense looks like. I understand we saw them against Bama. And you're not going to get much of a better offense to compare to.
Right.
I want to see a larger sample size of Power 5 on Power 5 with Texas's defense. If you're going to get that this week, Texas Tech comes in. They're not bad.
They beat Houston. They They didn't look great against NC State, but NC State's supposed to be really good this year, so
NC State does
makes
have
sense.
a great quarterback this year.
Yeah.
Kid looks like he's an NFL prospect. Everybody's hyping him up. He went for 16 for 24 with 159 and a touchdown. I mean, that's not great. Texas Tech's quarterback actually went for 25 for 43, that's a odd ratio. But 299 yards, a touchdown, and 3 interceptions.
That's Tech always has quarterbacks that can sling the ball, but when you get down to like second string, third string starters, you get more of those interceptions, more of that sloppy play. You still get don't get me wrong, you still get a lot of yards, but it opens up more of those bad plays that the first starter's not going to do. So they have a new offensive coordinator, second string quarterbacks now in charge of starting. They have a struggling offensive line. Lots of new faces on their team for their offensive line. So I think the matchup between their new offensive line and our defensive line is going to be in our favor. And then I think our offense is a little better than theirs, even with crippled Hudson Card, who apparently can still sprint his ass off with a hurt ankle. There was one play where it was like 2nd and 20 or something, and he sprinted for the first down and looked. I swear he was just limping like a few plays later or earlier. So I don't know where that came from, but so I'm thinking that Texas will be okay scoring, and I think they'll stop Tech a decent amount of time. So I'm not too worried, but it is Tech. It is Lubbock. It is, as I say, their Super Bowl. So the stadium is sold out. Last time they sold out was when they played us a couple years ago. So they want burnt orange blood all over themselves, so they will be ready to play. So we gotta not make stupid mistakes and not start off 10 points, 7 points down. So I'm looking forward to it.
The tortillas will be flying.
They will be flying.
The red and black will be in the stands, and they are going to be hyped for this game.
They're always hyped for Texas. When their basketball team plays, it's just Twitter's a nightmare. When the baseball team plays, it's a nightmare. That they better not even come close to beating us, otherwise Twitter's going to be a nightmare.
Yeah, I mean, last year that they made your stadium here in Austin, Texas Tech South, because they packed out your stadium here in Austin,
right?
And that's probably has to do more with the Chris Beard situation.
Yes, they're still. I think they'll be mad about that for the next 50 years.
Oh yeah, and they're going to be totally against y'all that whole entire time. They are going to they are going to try to beat you in every sport they can. They are going to pack out every stadium they can. They are going to be those fans are going to be nuts. And if they win, I don't care if you are the 22nd ranked team and A&M didn't rush the field after we beat number 13.
Yeah, no,
Miami.
they will rush the field. Yes,
and they will throw. And I've seen it. They will throw the goalpost into your band.
That would be an awesome sight, but also very, very sad. So let's hope that doesn't happen.
Kyle would sign off for Twitter for like an entire 24 hours.
Nah, I'll be back the next morning. After I've sobered up.
I think it'll be a Texas win. It will be a great game, though. I think that Tech, those 3 interceptions were a team total. Their starting quarterback, I guess you could say, he had 2 interceptions and 1 touchdown, 214 yards. If he cleans it up, maybe he presses Texas. And who knows? I've seen crazier things happen in rivalry games.
Right, for sure. Well, sub-rivalry games. For any Tech fans listening who think this is a rivalry game, it's not. But Texas does have 2 pick sixes on the year, which is like a 7-way tie for second place in
you got
FBS. So
I know you for sure got one against UTSA. Did you get one in week 1 against
Monroe?
Yeah. I put it out today. So Oklahoma and Oklahoma State are no longer going to be playing each other, and I was like, "Oh, that's so sad."
It is sad. we've been living through that for the last 11 years. It sucks.
How stupid could you be as the ADs to sit there and look at A&M and Texas for the last 10 years and be like, they wouldn't have made any extra money if they would have played each other. There was no benefit to playing. Like, that's so stupid. Like, you literally look at the teams that are in the state over from you, and you're like, yeah, that was a stupid idea not to play each other.
Yeah,
like, of course,
I'm sure they'll regret it.
The blame goes both ways. Texas dodged A&M in the beginning, A&M dodged Texas later on down the road. Like,
I think this was like a mutual dodge. I think both were like, yeah, that's fine. We don't want this game.
It's so stupid.
I understand Okie State not wanting it because they usually get beat, but
but I did not realize how one-sided that rivalry was.
I think it's the number 2 most lopsided rivalry of any rivalry. I think there's one that's worse.
Oklahoma's won it's like 85% of the game.
Yeah, it's like 90-12 or something. It's stupid.
That's ridiculous. Either way, though, like, I mean, why would you that up?
I don't know. If I was supposed to say the Big 12 is going to be like sub like Power 5 when Oklahoma and Texas leave. Like, you have a chance to give it to an SEC team and like have a chance at beating them, making your conference look good, making yourself look good. Like, plus all the revenue and all the 125 years or 150 years of the rivalry, however long it's been. Like, you're just throwing it all out the window.
I don't. Okay, so I'm going to touch on that. I don't think it's a sub-Power 5 program. I just now thought about this after you said it. I don't think it's a sub-Power 5 program because you now have a Pac-12 that doesn't have USC.
Oh yeah, I guess
UCLA.
You're right. Pac-12 is now the sub-Power 5.
I think the Big 12
they'll be gone in a couple
superior.
years. Yes, you're right.
It's much superior than the current Pac-12.
Right, and then you'll have like ACC, SEC, Big 10, and Big 12, and really that's really it for the top tier.
Yeah,
so
I mean, unless
you're right.
I've been sitting there juggling it, like whenever UCLA and USC decided to make that move. I still have no clue why the Big Ten wants UCLA.
Yeah.
If you've watched a game of theirs this year, they literally
they have like 60 people in the stands. Yeah, it's ridiculous.
It does not look like Big Ten football. So I've been trying to think about it, like, how does the Pac-12 like recover from this? And I'm like, well, the Big 12 now has 12 teams. Do they ship over a couple more teams over into the Big 12?
I think they'll grab like
pull 16.
I think they'll get like Arizona State, Oregon, Utah,
Washington.
Well, I think Oregon and Washington. I think Oregon and Washington talking the Big Ten, so maybe they'll go there.
We see there's plenty of big schools. I just don't see the Big Ten adding more than the SEC has right now. I don't see them going to a 18-team league.
Yeah.
I think that they'll wait on that. I think the best way for the Pac-12 to recover would be to grab San Diego State. It's a decent program out west. Definitely Boise. Go get you Boise State.
Dude, I've always wanted Boise. I love Boise.
Go get you Boise State. I guess it's not going to recuperate your loss of UCLA and USC. It's just not. But you just get what you can get. It's kind of like what the Big 12 did. They lost their 2 biggest schools as well. I don't think the Pac-12 lost their 2 biggest schools. I think they lost their biggest and then a mid-tier team.
Yeah.
If you would honestly look at it, and I'm like, I'm curious as to why the Big Ten did not just go say, we want USC and Oregon.
Well, I think Big Ten's really good at like other sports too. So in UCLA and USC, I don't know why they didn't try to Stanford. Those 3
Olympic savvy schools.
Right. So like I understand UCLA for that aspect, but they are acting like its focus is football, which couldn't be more untrue of UCLA. So, but
even if I was going to get the Olympic schools, I'm still going to get Stanford over UCLA.
Yeah, I would get Stanford for sure.
I'm still going for Stanford over UCLA.
They're ridiculous.
I don't understand the UCLA grab. I really don't. It just makes no sense to me.
It might just be like one of those things where it's like, you get USC, UCLA just comes with it.
It's like
like a package deal. Yeah.
Yeah. It was kind of like what they were. It's kind of like what when Texas and OU were going to the Pac-16.
Right.
Tech and Oklahoma State were that package deal that were coming with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that didn't work out. So,
man, what a different world that would be if that happened.
I honestly wouldn't have minded it. I think Tech very much relate. I spent a year and a half, 2 years in Lubbock, and Tech is very much just like Arizona State in Arizona. Like the climate, the people who party there, they're the exact same school, just a couple states apart. UT definitely is. I mean, I live in Austin. This is mini California. And then, I guess your outliers would have been Oklahoma and Oklahoma State, but I don't think that they're too different than your Colorados, your Utahs, your like Midwestern Plain states. I guess I don't know. I think it would have fit. Whatever though. Welcome to the SEC in like 2 years, I guess, because we just got as we talked about.
Yeah, 23 is not happening, so
it's not 23.
Yeah.
So Texas will be going to Alabama next year, and
that will be interesting.
Road trip.
I definitely won't be going to that one.
I tell you what, though, I got a hell of a schedule next year.
Oh yeah, so, I didn't even look at it. Who's at home?
So we got screwed this year, right? Like we absolutely got
the home
screwed.
Schedule sucks this year. Yeah.
Yeah. So you started with your Sam Houston, who was the other? Oh, App State, who beat us. Miami, and then you went on the road. Then you're on the road for four. You're not at home for 5 weeks, and you're on the road for 4 games. Next year, though, open the season with New Mexico, at Miami, at home for UL Monroe, at home for Auburn, at Arlington for Arkansas, at home for Bama.
Whoa, that's 3 out of 4 of those are tough, and you have them at home right in a row. That's pretty good.
Yes. And so, at home for New Mexico, on the road for Miami, at home for UL Monroe, at home for Auburn, who probably will fire their coach at the end of this year and start fresh next year. Then you play Arkansas and Arlington. Then you have Alabama at home.
Yeah.
I could see a scenario where if A&M gets their crap together at the end of this year.
It could be a top 5 showdown.
You could have a top 5 showdown at
That will be a record-breaking.
Bama.
Yes. Record-breaking attendance, record-breaking everything.
They will
game day.
They'll call the fire marshal and be like, "Stay at home, bro." 120,000.
God,
we are packing this thing out.
Yeah.
Then we go on the road at Tennessee.
Or you could lose to Louisiana Monroe week 3 and
don't say that.
and they'll take away your game day.
So after that, on the road at Tennessee. Then you have a bye week.
Have you ever been to Knoxville?
No, I haven't. I was just saying I would love to go.
Their campus is nice. Yeah, I would recommend that one.
I've been to Tennessee, been to Nashville. I may have drove to Knoxville when I drove up there, but I don't recall. So after Knoxville, bye week. So, I mean, that's a great opening schedule. You have 2 road
that's a good
games.
opening schedule.
2 road games and then Arkansas at Jerry World. I mean,
and then a week to rest. Yeah,
and
not
then
bad.
You're home for South Carolina. You're at Ole Miss. Then you're at home for Mississippi State and Abilene Christian, and then you close the season at LSU. That's a hell of a schedule, man.
Yeah.
They screwed us this year, but they gave us a gift.
There's a lot of wins in that, so you better get your shit together.
Oh, if I want to see either just juice up Max Johnson, or I mean, let me rub my hands together real quick. Connor Wegman, come out and just light this schedule on fire.
What would happen this year for him to start? Like Johnson getting hurt, or
I mean, because
I want to see him play.
I say that, and today, Connor Wegman posted a photo on his Instagram. I don't know anything. I'm just riding the waves like everybody else. posted a photo of
Yeah.
him on Instagram on his story, and at the top it said #Showtime with a little hourglass. And I was like, does that mean Max Johnson? Does that mean Connor Wegman
he's
is
about
going
to
be
he's about to play or he's about to transfer?
versus Arkansas? No, he ain't transferring.
No,
He's
I'm
playing
joking.
baseball at A&M too, so he ain't going nowhere.
Oh, sweet. Yeah.
I don't think it. I mean, obviously Kyler Murray did transfer, but I just don't think the way that Jimbo doesn't handle his athletes the same way Kevin Sumlin did. And I think that was evident this week in that example that I described.
Yeah, for sure.
With the fourth player.
A lot of coaches would have just like, put that under the rug because they want to win and so yeah. I agree with all that.
So yeah, I mean, if Connor Wegman comes out this weekend, I will be beyond shocked.
You've been wanting him all season. That'd be cool.
I know. I wanted Max this year, just because I think he's safe with the ball. But if the wheels were going to fall off, I put in Connor. Let's let the kid take his bumps and bruises, and let's just roll and get ready for next year because that schedule.
Yeah, that schedule next year. That's set up for y'all to do something.
Yes. And if the wheels start falling off, put in Connor Wegman. Let's get ready for next year and let's go ball.
Get him some experience. Yeah. Yeah. Agree.
Well, I've talked about A&M enough tonight. I think Texas rolls this weekend. I think Texas gets a win.
I hope so. Yep.
I think A&M's going to be playing a tight game. Go either way. Look forward to football this weekend. So.
Love me some football for sure. Can't wait.
Yep. Aggies.
Okay.
Getting your rings. Congratulations. That's it for me. You got anything, Kyle?
Just make sure your beer's flat before you chug it.
Yes, I made that mistake during my ring vote. I threw up all over the place.
Whenever my brother did it, I wasn't there, but my parents videoed him doing it, and it was one of the fastest ones I've ever seen. And I just was like, man, I'm glad I didn't have to do that in front of people. I'd be nervous.
I chugged the shit out of it.
And he goes, oh, it's flat. I'm like, oh, that makes it easier. But still, it was a big ass pitcher. Yeah.
I wasn't gonna do it. My cousins poured it all of the beer that we were drinking in a big thing, and they were like, ring dunk, and I was oh shit. And so I just turned that thing up.
Yeah.
And I chugged it. I was in the Navy. I could drink. I'm a fucking fish. I could drink. And
I bet you burp one of the biggest things you've ever burped.
Oh no, dude! That gas bubble just sat on my chest for a good 3 minutes, and then I just went over to the bushes because it was so fucking terrible. So yes, let the carbonation come out of your beer before you chug it. That shit hurt.
Nice. Okay.
Well,
I will be watching football.
Yeah,
I know you will
enjoy
be too.
Football this weekend. Thanks to Gig 'em.
Hook 'em.